difference, one cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today it's afternoon for Miss Liz, but out there it might be a different time for you. So I want to welcome each and every one of you to Tea Time with Miss Liz. And today I have an incredible guest joining me in the studio. She's also a sister, a friend, and I've met her in person. So that's even an extra bonus because that is one check off the list for a Tea Time guest to get to meet. So I'm going to just share a little disclaimer, and then we will share a little bit on Nancy Nance, and we will have an incredible tea time. So leave your comments, questions, all of that good stuff in the comments, and make sure to give StreamYard the okay. As I'm going live, I need you to, before leaving a comment, please leave StreamYard the permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward at any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward with good faith. However, there may be forked dialogue and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participations are responsible for their own good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may conclude discussion for somewhat that may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection, and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about this disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in this show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcome you. Should you decide that this show is not made for you at this time, I respect that choice, and I will see you at a later date at another tea time. Now, I'm going to bring in my incredible guest, my sister, my Sacred Heart sister, and we're going to have a good old tea time. And I'm going to share her bio, but I'm going to bring her into the studio because I'm super excited to have her here with me today. And again, leave the comments and I will bring them up, but please make sure to verify with StreamYard.com so we don't get in any trouble. And I do want to warn everyone that today's show will be triggering. We will be talking about some topics that might trigger you. So if you feel that this show is triggering, please do not tune in, and I will respect that and understand completely. So let me bring in Nancy Nance. Welcome, Nancy. It is incredible to see you, girl.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's just, it's beautiful when we get the opportunity to connect back on, right? Like, because we have been distanced from each other. We live a few feet away from each other here in Canada. We're not exactly next door neighbors. Exactly. And there's such a beauty in being able to still remain connected on a regular basis too. Yeah. I love that. And as soon as you say Sacred Heart sister, my heart just glows, because I'm proud to be a Sacred Heart sister and to have taken that journey in writing with you and so many incredible people. Wow.
It was really a journey with Sacred Hearts, and we'll get into that a little more into the tea time and that. But I just want the viewers and listeners out there to know a little bit about Nancy. So Nancy Nance is known as Exponential Joy. My tongue again. Here we go.
Exponential.
I think my tongue does this on purpose to me so that I have bloopers for Miss Tea Time. I'm not sure what's going on. For Exponential Joy, for she truly has learned to live an exponential, joyful life. You give me big words, girl. Nancy is a mother to 4 fabulous sons, an angelic daughter, and 2 delightful granddaughters. Nancy is a life coach, healer, and light worker. Her personal recovery is dynamic, and has helped her become both exponentially empathetic and compassionate. There, my God, there's a full sentence right there. Try and say that tongue twister 3 times. Her powerful methods are effective, fun, and functional. Together, you can create an exceptional life with healing from your past trauma, stress, and drama. Her program, Recovery Your Joy, is a radical revelational program that is helping hundreds of people transform their dreams into reality. And you can find out more about Nancy on her website and all of her social media platforms that I will be posting up as we're speaking during the tea time. And thank you for those tongue twisters. You really make my tongue just roll.
Well, and exponential is an important expression for me. So exponential, flashback to junior high, when you multiplied something by 10.
Oh,
So when you have a like x to the 10th,
I like that.
that's what exponential is. And when you multiply anything in your life by 10, it grows and expands. So that goes all the way down to the bottom of the emotional scale, which is shame. Shame on you. Ugh, right? All the way up to the very top, which is joy. And the higher the creative expression, so joy, happiness, optimism, the better the feeling. So I help people reach for a better feeling place. But we can't feel good all the time. That's not the human experience. We go through past trauma, we go through stress, and we go through drama. PTSD, it's just a different spin on the letters. Because isn't it interesting how syndromes get changed? They change the names of them often. And when we get labeled with a mental health illness, we often become that when it's part of who we are in our experience. But I mean, I definitely take risks and do things that many people don't. I question, I research. That could be diagnosed as oppositional defiance disorder.
But I think research is really important, Nancy, because if we don't research and we don't ask questions, how do we change anything, right?
Oh, research. When I started researching the battered women syndrome, I was shocked by what I didn't know. And I had no idea how much my life was a reflection of the battered woman syndrome and the effects of such. Because yes, many of my relationships were abusive, whether that is work relationship, personal relationship, or, but I didn't realize it was battery. I mean, if you think about the battered woman, you have a picture of a person who has physical marks on their bodies. There's so much more than that. There's economic abuse. That's a huge one. And as soon as the abuse is repeated, you hit something in the heart enough times and you say to someone, you're fat, you're ugly, no one will ever want you. That's battery. And we don't understand that because not many people talk about it.
Like I always say, I would take a beating any day over the mental words.
You know,
because the words are hard to erase. The bruises, they heal. You know, a lot of people say, well, why would you want to have bruises? They go away. The words are the triggers. The words are,
so much sticks and stones.
Yeah.
May break, I mean, and they are. And we get that programming in our head. And I mean, when we're young, especially, we don't have the ability to decipher. We don't have the cognitive awareness. So if your mom or your dad says, you're not smart enough to go to university, you can believe that or take it out of context. So because I didn't apply myself in school, I wasn't able to make it to university. That's what I was told. And it was a fact because I was too busy socializing. I was too busy avoiding school. I was too busy being Nance. And part of that was because I believed I couldn't go to university. And I mean, I have got numerous certifications. I've got, oh my gosh, over 8 years of university education because I'm a lifelong learner. So that's how I understand the psychology of emotions as well as the healer's perspective of emotions. I like having both. I really do. I really, really do. I really do. So it's special. And because I've got 4 sons, I don't just resonate with women. I resonate with men as well because we're all human beings.
I like that you mentioned the men because I'm big on that as well. A lot of people will say, well, Liz, you're for gender equality. Yes, gender equality means equal rights. You know, it doesn't just mean females. I'm not big on just all the women get all the rights. We're not changing anything when we just do that, you know. And by having a son as well, we want to have services and resources for our boys as well, not just for our daughters, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, we need separate systems to aid people because of not just the physical difference, but the environmental difference.
Yep.
It is different. It truly is. But to bridge the gap and bring resources that help all people, regardless of their race, religion, economics, there is so much that we as a community can do, whether that's my community here in Edmonton, Alberta, my second community in Kelowna, or. And, you know, we can do so much with so little.
Yep.
Just take the talents that you have. And if you don't know what they are, well, then that's where the coaching comes in. I'm a huge football fan. Huge football fan.
I love that you said football because one of my guests a couple weeks ago talked about football. I think football has a lot to do with life.
It does. It does. And if you look at the board that the coach has in front of him, he's got X's and O's, opposition and defense. And when we get too defensive, we put up a fence between ourselves and others. And we have been doing that for so long in our lives. No matter what, I can't be a writer. I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
Well, here I am. But somebody had to encourage me. And someone had to give me an opportunity. I've been blessed. I don't even know how many opportunities with writing 7 international best-selling books that I'm in now, I think.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
Congratulations.
And
I didn't even know that.
I'm working on my memoir. I write every opportunity that I get when the spirit of the writer comes into my heart. And we all have a spirit of a writer in us. I mean, you write a grocery list, you're a writer.
Yeah, it's the little things, right? A lot of people think it's the big things, you know. I got to be an author. I got to be this. I got to be that. Just be you, you know, and it will flow. When we flow and we just spill the tea, we just live our true, authentic selves, you know. You just never know where your life will go. If somebody would have told me I would have wrote in a bunch of books, like with you, Nancy, and that 5 years ago, I would have said, no, are you guys crazy? Like, I can't do that, you know? And here I am, you know, with
it's
7
too
books.
big out of the comfort zone. It's too big out of the comfort zone, but you can take small steps once you get the admittance of yourself. So the little mittens, the admittance, the 2 of them that we have, and we say, oh, I have been avoiding things in my life. Because we all avoid things in our life. It's what keeps us safe. And we avoid taking chances. And it's those small steps that you can take, just the small ones, opening up a conversation with somebody. I stayed in a vicious circle of abuse because I was afraid to talk to anybody, because I was afraid somebody would tell somebody, because that happened. I confided in one person, and instead of them helping me, they went and spoke to the person who was causing the abuse. And then there was more. They didn't do it by any other intention except to help.
Yeah.
So we've got to choose our people carefully, and you've got to find someone that you resonate with.
Yeah.
It's like that song. I mean, I don't know what music you listened to when you were growing up, but I listened to hair bands in the 80s. I listened to Motley Crue. I listened to Led Zeppelin. That's what really gave me my musical flow.
Yeah.
I listened to Stevie Nicks. And now, I mean, my genre of music is so expansive. I'll listen to almost anything that brings me joy. And joy is that feeling that you had when you were a child, perhaps. It's that feeling when you look at the sunrise and you're like, wow, that's beautiful.
Well, I know that
We
you
more.
a few weeks ago, Nancy, you had posted something on your wall, because I follow Nancy all the time, because Nancy's kind of she's like my kind of role model and inspirer. When I need to pick her up, or
Aw.
I go to you, Nancy, like, because you're so real and so authentic, and you speak from the heart. You speak real hard truth, and sometimes we don't want to hear it because we're scared to hear it, or we're scared to look in that mirror. And when I listen to you, I it gives me that courage to say, you know what, Liz, today is just a rotten day. Let it be a rotten day. Tomorrow might be a better day. And these are the messages that I get when I listen to you is, each day is different. And you had played a video, X's and O's. And we go back to the football, the X's and the O's. And Jim Curtis, who was on, who did foreign language, he spoke about football as well. And I'm learning a lot about football during these times with the tea time, because we need that encouragement. We need that push. We don't always have that flow to spill that tea. We're scared, or we self-doubt ourselves. And when I listen
And that's what a coach does. That's what a football coach does. They tell you
exactly.
to get up and keep playing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, that's what a personal fitness coach does.
Yeah.
That's what a gym coach did. I mean, we all had coaches in school, and there had to be one that you liked, maybe
Well, and
two.
that's what I mean, Nancy, is that you are a true life coach. Like, you truly are a healer. You open people's eyes because you speak the truth. You know, a lot of coaches will say, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do it. Like, they're dictating, where you're kind of letting it flow. And you have such a soft voice and such a soft, calming, welcoming, opening the mind to growing. And that's what I really truly enjoy about all of your little lives that you do and the work that you do. And that's why I wanted you on Tea Time, Nancy, is because you truly do make a difference, and you truly heal people with the messages that you share. And you do it
Thank
in
you.
such a welcoming way that it opens the eyes.
I've had to learn so much in my life. My trauma ladder. When you work with me in the coaching world, we talk about trauma ladders, and it's your life experiences, that the steps that you took that were hard. My trauma ladder was filled with rape trauma syndrome, domestic violence, loss of a child, economic problems after problems after problems. And I always reached out to support once I started. It was really hard for me to reach out for support. It wasn't something that, I went crawling like a cat when it came to getting help, because I was fine. I had lied for so long, for so long. And when I chose to work on my physical body, that's where the big breakthrough came for me. Is I worked on my physical body, and that helped me tap into my emotional body. Sometimes it's the other way around. Every single person is different. And I've always been tenacious, so I don't give up easy. But for me, that also meant staying in a relationship that wasn't good for me because I honored my vows, but I didn't quite understand what that meant.
Yeah.
So I made mistakes. I don't stand on a soapbox and act like I'm perfect, because I'm not.
And I think
uh,
that's what I like about you is the real rawness. I love real raw people, because this is how we make a difference in life. And this is how we really truly connect the dots. And we really make a difference in humanity is when we're real, when there's no mask, there's no fakeness, there's no excuses, only results. We have our bad days, we have our good days. So what was it about you, Nancy, that you learned about yourself to become a life coach? When was that little red light, that not red light, but the light switch went off and said, you know what, I can help people?
wow. I love how spirit gives me that answer. I get the messages in my mind through memories, sometimes through song. It depends. But I was working in here in Edmonton, and I was in the oil and gas industry, and I still have friends from that industry who are my daily. Oh, I just love when we connect. But I was working with a man who was not the right person to work with. And we had had an encounter, and I was working towards creating a project, and he wasn't willing to work with me. And I knew that we just could not continue. I would be sacrificing my happiness on a daily basis. And I was blessed to have the courage to be able to write my letter of resignation. And I gave 6 weeks notice, and I only had to give 2. But I wanted to train my replacement so that she would understand the systems that I'd created, because I'd created, oh my gosh, spreadsheets that attached to spreadsheets that attached to, it was a very, very technologically advanced role that I had created. And then I went to work on myself, and I started doing something that's called SRT, so spiritual response therapy. And I went to Arizona, and it was the first time that I had ever gone away for 10 days. And I thought that I was going to go learn something and then help everybody, because codependency is something that I was trapped in for a long time. I could save the world, but not me,
Yeah.
right? I mean, not me. And when I went, I found out I had to work on me. And then it was a challenge. But each time that I learned how to help others, I had to help myself first. Whether that was with Reiki or yoga or anything that I learned, I had to learn to work on me. Because isn't it true that you wake up with yourself every day? No
It's a,
matter
it's a
what,
sad truth, right?
every day, right? It's like, oh boy, here we go again. And I mean, you're
Yeah.
always in your head, up in here, right? And it just doesn't stop. And that's where meditation can be such a challenge for people, because there's this tick 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 tick, and the wheels going and the wheels going and the wheels going. And that's why meditation is something that I love to incorporate. And I love working, I like co-creating with others. I like doing workshops with others, as well as individual workshops just with me. But I love co-creating with others. Boy, that's fun.
Yeah, collaboration is fun because you get to see a different aspect, right? A different direction,
Yeah.
perspective, because you have two eyes instead of one. So you're like,
Yes.
oh, I didn't see it this way before. Oh, maybe I could do it this way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love collaboration, and it really opens the door in that. I
Well,
want to
and
get,
that's where, I mean, ask me about an essential oil, and I'm an essential oil enthusiast. I'm certifying in aromatherapy, but I don't know it all. I know lots, and I will
yeah,
look up the answer. So when I was working with my daughter-in-law to be through her pregnancy, and I'm like, oh, pregnant people, you guys are just a challenge because we can't do research ethically on pregnant people. That's why there isn't a lot that's known.
Yeah.
Because we can't just put one in a box. I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So you have to be very, very careful. And so we would work together, me, my gal, and her midwife. I always reach out to experts.
Yep.
I don't know it all. That's why, like, when it comes to crystals, I mean, there's only one person that I talk to, and that's delightful Daphne. Period. The end. Because I enjoy her company, not because she's the only person in this world, but in my world, she's sacred.
Yeah.
And when you create what I call a place of grace, that's the place in your home that you can go to. That is so special. And you can take that place of grace and take it with you. And that's what I teach. That's what super duper califragilistic exponential joyful Sunday is. Well, because I can't say super soul Sunday. Somebody already used that. So
I know somebody's always taking something, right?
What do you mean? It's super and soul and it's Sunday. Isn't that God? But, you know, to be considerate of others.
Yeah.
I just add a few extra words in there. So.
But I like that because you always add that extra flavor in, right? We need that extra flavor and blends out there. So for all the viewers that are listening and watching on the different platforms, please put in hashtag where you're watching from, where you're tuning in from. And if you're checking out later and you have any questions at all for Nancy, please reach out to Nancy. As you can see, I am posting it. For the video viewers, you will see her information. For the audio viewers and listeners that are, it's all in the description. So you can find Nancy. All of the Tea Time guests are always in the description. So you can find this incredible lady. She does make a difference. And you've mentioned Daphne. Now that you and Daphne have really had a journey that took you on a longer journey, because I believe that's how you got into Sacred Hearts, was through Daphne.
I did. Daphne suggested that because Daphne was in the Sacred Hearts Rising 1, and she suggested that I get into, and I finally said, if you leave me alone, like, I'll do it. Just stop, right? And then I did it. And boy, that pulled me out of my comfort zone, because the first chapter I wrote was called In Heaven, which was talking about Emily's passing. And I was angry. I was so angry when Emily passed. I was so angry. And I mean, here I am smiling. Like, what the heck? She's smiling and she was angry. But the way that at the time I felt that Emily was robbed from my life, I was healing from many layers of anger. And I held it in my physical body. I held it in my physical body so much so that my entire right arm was numb. My jaw ached. I had migraines. There was so much. Daphne helped me understand how to look at life differently. And then we separated, and then we came back again, and then we separated. But we help each other by encouraging each other on a daily basis. And then I had the pleasure of writing the foreword in her book, You Do You. Like,
yes, I do need to have her on Tea Time to get that book out there, because I heard good things about that book.
Yeah. Well, and that's where the writing, when you join a group of people to write with, there's so much. You get to read other people's stories and befriend them. And, you know, as we learn more and more about the importance of friendship, we can learn from each other. Some of the things that Emily taught me were: say what you mean what you say, and don't say it mean. I told her that, and then she reminded me of it. Quitters never win and winners never quit. Because when I said to her, she was probably about 8. She passed when she was 10. And I said, that's it. I quit. And she's like, quitters never.
They always seem to remember, right? So that they can remind us, hey, Mom, you said this. You told us not to quit, you know?
Absolutely. And had I quit, I wouldn't have met all of my sacred sisters. I wouldn't have met the love of my life, who is my Raoul, my Raphael. I wouldn't have met him. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to share his life, his family, his morals that match my morals. Because when we look for connection with another, we have to have our non-negotiables, your absolute no's.
Yep.
And we carry a lot of the similarities. Family first. Family first. Father and mother, I love you. And for me, that is my father in heaven and my mother on the earth. Period.
Yep.
If I don't connect with Christ consciousness, I call it GUS, God, Universe, Source. If I don't connect
See,
with
I
that,
love the way you bring things out. Like you make people think, you know? You say the word Gus and
well,
people think of a boy's name. And here you are,
well,
you
and it
open it.
takes the arguing out of it,
It
because
does.
I'm not going to argue about religion. I'm not.
Yep.
I'm not. I mean, Lord Thunder and Jesus, me father's from Newfoundland. That's why I talk like I do sometimes.
That's why you're
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Oh my gosh. And I haven't been there yet. I make big dreams in my life and I
Yeah.
accomplish them because I see what I want. I create it. First on the page, I journal. In my mind, I imagine. And I mean, some of the things that have happened in my life in the last 3 months blow my mind. Blow my mind and
Wow.
fill my heart. And I'm like everybody else. I get overwhelmed. I have temper tantrums.
Yeah.
And then I make tea.
See, and
Literally.
this is why we connect, you know, why we resonate, because the tea, the writing, the journaling, the releasing. I really connected when I read your chapter in book 2, Nancy. It really hit home because I lost my daughter that was stillborn, but you lost your daughter at 10. But it still resonated, the loss of a child, you know, somebody who understood the pain, because it is a pain that unless you go through it, you do not understand it. I don't care who
No,
you are. You do
no.
not understand it unless you've gone through it. And I
And
really,
the triggers and the traumas. I remember standing in line at the grocery store
yeah,
and there was a balloon that said happy birthday. And I was just gazing at it and I was struggling not to cry, just to hold it together. And then the little girl in the lineup with her mom behind me was, you know, being a little girl, wanting things on the shelf. And her mom said, "Oh, Emily." And I crumbled in the lineup. And I was so grateful that the people that were surrounding me, total
yeah,
strangers, all of a sudden my groceries were bagged. They were being carried out to my car. I didn't pay for them.
um,
That woman paid for my groceries. I was an absolute mess. And I was going through a divorce right after. My granddaughter passed away shortly after. I mean, I was just like hit. So I was in a position where it was continue to live hell on earth
yeah,
or find a way to create a heaven. And that's so hard when you lose a child. And then I met people who'd lost so much more than me. It it was a challenge. It really was. To belittle that experience takes away from the beauty of healing from it. You know,
yeah,
it's that hashtag me too. And we've lost so much right now in the reality of the epidemic of mental health crisis. It's an
yes,
epidemic. It's huge. And we have got to bring it into the light. And that's where I say I am a light worker, not just because I work with spirit, but because I talk about things that need to be spoken about. They must. We can change. We must put the effort into it, and we will rise above the life that we have right now. That's a challenge. We will.
And that's
Together.
who you are, Nancy. You're a real life light worker, a healer, a life coach. You speak life. You don't speak the wine and roses. And we were talking about this in the back of the studio before we came online. The wine and roses, the flavors we put together, the creations that we make, And you spoke about this morning before tea time, the alignment of, when things are not good, we can move forward, staying connected and networking and building our circles, our tribes. Our tribes are really, really important, and sometimes we outgrow our tribes. We outgrow things. I did notice something, and I've been noticing this a lot with all of the Sacred Heart Rising sisters. I've noticed the connection of the last book, the book that is coming out on March 23rd, that is being launched. You are in book 4. And I just realized when I put out book 2, if you notice book 2, we're leaning on each other. But in book 4, we're holding each other with the heart.
Yeah.
We have grown. We have really grown through Sacred Hearts.
Well, and we have these bonds with each other that it's that 2:00 phone call person. We've got them in our lives because we took the risk to trust again.
Yeah.
We took the risk to trust again. And we have to make those choices. We have to let go of the things that cause us harm.
Yeah.
Because you can't carry that suitcase with you everywhere you go. You just can't. You got to learn to travel light. And that, I mean, here we go back to the light, but you have to learn to travel light, because you can turn to the channel in your life that's full of doom and gloom. You can look to what isn't working in your life, and focus on that. You can look at your bank account that sucks. Right? I mean, or whatever it happens to be. And you can focus on that, or you can forge forward. And in December, I was getting ready to go to my granddaughter's birthday, and I was so excited, but I knew that it was going to be a challenge, because I knew that I would be crossing into dark, difficult waters. And because I know my struggles, and I was an addict for a long time. I was at one time addicted to cocaine. I was at one time addicted to crack. I had food addictions. I was a codependent. All of those, I had to do something with my hands. And I started creating teas.
Oh.
So, I mean, I've got chamomile that's roasting by the fire right now, because I had to do something with my hands. I don't knit.
I did that for a while, and I did. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea.
I remember. Do you remember when you were a kid and you had those the twine, and you kind of twist it and turn it, you'd make a house, and then someone would pick up that part?
Oh yeah, with the hands. Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of like that, and then Spirit started talking to me, and I started hearing a song. If all the raindrops were lemon drops and gumdrops, so what a world it would be. So I'm like, lemon. Oh my gosh. Lemon and chamomile. So I just started playing and having fun. And now I'm creating something every day. I don't know exactly how it's going to fall into place. I don't know. But I just took little tiny steps. I managed my money with deliberate intention. If what I was spending wasn't moving me forward in the direction of my dreams, I took note of that. And then I tried to change more. Just a little bit, right? I mean, I still have vices. I love Twizzlers, okay? I got a bag right down there. The pull and peels, oh my God, I love them. And I do not allow judgment.
Yeah.
I won't judge you. Please don't judge me. And
I
when I
like that.
catch
I like that.
myself, when I catch myself, right? Because we all do it. We were taught to.
Yeah.
We were taught to observe and be critical thinkers. But we don't need to criticize each other.
Yeah.
Doesn't really help, does it?
No, it doesn't.
You
And
know,
since you
so-
brought up tea, Nancy, I'm going to ask you, if I give you the word tea, what would your tea be? So a word for each of the letters, TEA.
Take exponential avenues. That was cool.
I like that. And
Take
and this is what I mean.
exponential
Everyone is
avenues.
different.
Right?
And
Because have you ever done that? Like, do you like this? And this is psychology. If you always drive in the same pattern every single day, you turn right, you turn right, you turn right, you create narrow pathways. Turn left.
yes.
Try driving one day, turning left to get home.
Yeah.
You'll get there eventually.
So what is it about the word exponentially besides the by 10?
Okay.
So what is it about that word? Because you use that word a lot, and that's also on your website. So what is it about that word?
Okay, so
Nancy?
Emily Joy Chaplin was 10 years old when she passed away. She was also conceived on the 10th day of my menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle.
Yes, we do spill the tea here.
And then there were 10 birds in the tree when she passed. So 10 is beyond. I was 10 years old when my mom had her AV malformation, so an amalgamation of blood clots in the brain the size of a peach, and my mom survived that.
Wow.
So multiplying things by the power of 10 is very important. There was a book that I read, oh gosh, years ago, Power versus Force. And we can force things in our lives. You can sit there and dig a hole really, really deep and force it. Or you can allow water into your life and flow with life. It's much easier when you flow with life than fight against life. And I've learned that through some of the most interesting things. I took kickboxing.
I need to try that. I've always wanted to try it.
I dislocated 2 toes doing that.
Oh,
Do that.
okay, wait.
I'm like, oh my God. Like it was these fingers, these toes on the feet. Oh my gosh, it hurt. But that's because I was trying to kick higher than my hips allowed.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
So
was
there is
kicking
some
the tops of
movement.
my
The
feet.
height of
It's
the
an
kick.
art. It's an art. Well, you're supposed to kick with this part of it's not your foot.
So don't kick with your foot, guys. And for all the
No, I
viewers and
tried
listeners,
hip hop
don't
dancing
kick with your
way
foot.
back when. I can't hip hop dance either. I can kind of do the shoulder roll thing a little bit, but my kids laugh at me, so I don't. I'm looking forward to so many things in my life. I'm gonna walk my son down the aisle in May. Wow, my baby boy is getting married.
What date?
How is that possible when I'm only 33?
What date is he getting married?
He's getting married at the end of May. So it's a 4-day event. So right? So we're so excited. And my 4 sons are going to stand together.
Oh, wow.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Plus all the extra brothers from another mother. It's going to be an event, and we've had to wait because it's been postponed due to exponentially irritating situations in our lives.
I love how you put a twist on that one. I like that one.
Well, I won't say the C word. I did write
Yeah.
a chapter that has the C word in it. It's called I Can't Understand Normal Thinking. ICUNT.
I love that how real you are.
Well, and you know what? I took a word that was used against me because I was called that word.
Yeah.
And then I sat in the uncomfortableness of life, because you've got to sit in the muck and the mud to see what it smells like. And to acknowledge your own responsibility in your life. I can't make anybody change. You can't make me change. I mean, go ahead and try and change my pants. Ain't happening.
Good luck with that one.
Well, and you know what? Because I've got 4 sons, we used to wrestle together. I mean, when my son Jarrett got to be tall enough to hold the phone, I said, "Give me your phone." And he'd hold the phone over his head, and I'd jump up to try and take it away. Right? And then I would poke him, and he'd poke me, and we overcame so much. My sons suffered so much when their sister passed away. It wasn't just about me. We suffered as a family. We suffered as a family, and we survived as a family. My next tattoo is going to say family first.
Oh, I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 of my sons have that tattoo. I have yet to get it. But I don't rush out and do things. So that is a benchmark in my life. And until I have my memoir completed, I ain't allowed. I'm the one that sets those marks for me. And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to look at yourself in the mirror and go, no, you're not allowed. But I mean, have you ever done that? Argued with yourself in the mirror?
All the time. That's the only person that actually argues with me is myself.
I am my own accountability partner, but because I set myself up for success, I have many people who check in on me and say, "So, how are you doing?" And I mean, I've got my writing in a beautiful, beautiful bound leather book. And it was interesting how it found me, because I was at Value Village, one of my favorite stores, Value Village, yes, Value Village. And there was a leather bound book that could have been used for photography, for photographs. You know how you glue it in?
Yep.
But I use it for writing because I like thick paper. I'm very kinesthetic, so I like touching. And I picked it up and I'm like, oh, I like that. And then I looked at the cover. It was The Last Supper. Jesus.
Wow.
Yep. I always say that I have a parole officer. Jesus. Jesus is my PO, and I report to him every single day.
Oh, he shows up when we don't expect it, right? And then we're like,
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And to come to a relationship with spirit where you understand that spirit does work with you and for you in those difficult, difficult days when you're like, what do you mean? This is that, because I'll say that to people. This is happening for you, not to you.
Yep.
So my car, you mean I crashed my car? It's going to lead to something. Just stay the course.
Yeah.
Stay the course. Together we can do anything. And that's really hard when you look at the big picture of the world and we have loving concern for others. But we can't help them if we don't help ourselves and our familia.
Yep.
Yeah, our familia.
I like that you mentioned that, Nancy, because a lot of people don't work on themselves, right? They're fast to heal everyone else, but they don't want to work on themselves. You know, they don't want to take accountability. They don't want to take ownership or responsibility. You know, we're all human beings. We all have made mistakes. We all have hurt someone, you know. And if someone says that we've hurt them, we do not have the right to say, no, you did not hurt us. You know, that person, if we hurt them, we hurt them, you know, and we have to say, you know, I'm really sorry, and be authentic about it, not just say I'm sorry and then move on. You know, there's 3 stages of the sorry, and a lot of people forget the 3rd stage, and that's refixing what you've already created, you know.
And there's no but in sorry. Do you ever notice that? Because I always said that to my kids when they were arguing. Yeah, but. Yeah, but. There's no but in sorry. You can't say I'm sorry, but.
Yeah.
That takes the sorry out of it. You can
Yeah.
listen and say, I don't understand how you think I hurt you.
Yeah.
Please explain more.
Yeah.
You don't have to take the honesty or the integrity out of the conversation, but we may not understand. I always say that there is a lie within the truth
Yes.
because of your perception.
Yeah.
We live experiences whereby I saw it from my viewpoint, my vantage point, you saw it from yours.
Yeah.
And we take things out of context.
Yeah, we do. Sometimes,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with us at all.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something that someone has gone through. Somebody is going through something that they're not even sharing. It has nothing to do with us. But because we're so focused on us, we
Yeah.
take it personal, you know. And I've learned that through my Sacred Heart's journey with all of my sisters and my brothers, and that we all have transformed in different ways. We've all have grown in different ways, and we support each other when the time is right, not when
Mm-hmm.
the time is, it's my time, I'm shining, look at me. You know what I mean? I don't do well with that when I feed the ego. Um,
No, no. And
you know,
we need confidence.
yes,
We need charisma. We need all those positive reflections of ourselves. I mean, be proud of what you've
yeah,
done, please.
yeah,
But as spirit is telling me, don't piss on anybody's parade. And
right,
when we do that, um, and we do that on ourselves, right? If you stand in the wind and spew pee,
yeah,
it's going to spray back on you.
exactly,
And then you're going to complain that the wind did it. Well, turn around,
yeah,
go the other direction. And there isn't a day that you will experience that doesn't have the contrast in it. There will always be people who will come into your life and challenge you. There will always be obstacles, but within every challenge there's a choice, and every obstacle there's an opportunity. Yes, that means when you lose your job, you can get another one. You have so many talents, so do I.
yeah,
I mean, I did bookkeeping for decades. I learned about debits and credits, and now I learn about debits and credits with emotions, and I help people balance their emotional state. We
so
can't
Nancy,
balance
and
the whole state. We can't balance the world ourselves. We're not meant to.
exactly. So Nancy, if anybody wanted to reach you, what services do you provide out there?
Well, I've got Super Soul Sunday coming up every single Sunday for the next 10 Sundays with Daphne. I'm so blessed with that. When it comes to life coaching, I've got a program that you can do virtually, and you can include one-on-one sessions. When it comes to light work, that means Reiki, that means reflexology, that means SRT, that means Bach. I have a dynamic system so that I can meet you where you're at. I quite often pull cards when I'm doing a session for a person, because it's part of what I do every single day. I don't take a day off from healing me, but I do take days off from healing you. So
Well, that we all need that break, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, we
Nancy, what
do.
message would you have for the viewers and listeners out there who are struggling to just take care of themselves? What message would you have for them?
Choose you at least 3 times a day. At least 3 times a day. When you get out of bed, pause. How are you feeling? What's the weather like inside? We talk about the weather outside. We don't talk about the weather inside. It's snowing outside. Well, thanks, tips. I live in Edmonton. It's snowing outside. But how are you feeling inside, right?
Yeah,
Thanks, Captain Obvious. But what's going on here? Acknowledge that. Do that in the morning, do that once in the afternoon, and do that once in the evening. Mark it down. Take a little bit of time with a pen and a paper. And you don't have to write perfectly. You can say, I feel like my coffee cup says it.
Oh, and you're drinking from the same cup. Oh, cool! I love that cup.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. A girlfriend gave it to me. Right? Because if you don't have the words to express your emotions, I'm feeling irritated. Well, I'm feeling poopy is irritated. You might need someone to help you define the words. And that's what the Recover Your Joy program does. It helps you understand emotions. It helps you heal. And oh my goodness. So part of the Recover Your Joy online program is a story. It's the hero's journey. It's about Mary and Marvin. And they go on a journey. And they leave behind the simple, boring life that everybody else has. And they move forward in the direction of their dreams. What is your big dream? I want to have a motorhome. I'm very excited about that. I've already designed the garage that the motorhome is going to fit in.
Or beside. A motorhome is good. You can travel the world, right? You come and go when you want.
And I was told, it was funny because I talked to my one son. He's like, motorhome, why would you park that inside? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That can go outside. Oops. But I would again, oh my God, you're such a Nance. I am. And even that word, because I was on the football field, back to football, and one of the coaches hollered at my son, said, stop being such a Nancy. And I'm like, what was that? That's what they call a boy who isn't playing up to his abilities, a Nancy. Like, why Nancy? That's just not fair. Why not Karen?
Yeah.
Joking.
Well, there's a lot of Karens out there. If anyone knows what Karen is.
Why be a Karen when you can be a Beth? I've been saying that a lot because that resonates with me. I'm a very strong archetype. I'm a warrior archetype. I'm sassy. I was born sassy. I was born with my eyes wide open. I truly was. I was born with my eyes wide open, looking around. My mom tells me that story now as she begins to age, and she talks about my childhood and tells me things that I don't remember. And it's funny, don't you notice how we do that to our kids? Don't you remember when you were 2 years old? And no.
Do I want to remember?
I mean, there's hypnotherapy. I got a good hypnotherapist. I got a guy, and I have resources, and that's why I share. I share resources. I don't do hypnotherapy, but I got a guy and I got a gal. Yeah. Or I'll help you find someone. We can work together.
And we can spill the tea together.
That's right. That's right.
I really want to thank you, Nancy, for joining me today on Teatime. And for any of the viewers that are watching the replay, push #replay and let me know where you're watching from so I can personally message you and see what you enjoyed about the show, what you'd like to see different about the shows, because feedback is needed in order for me to grow. If I don't get feedback, and if I get it that it's all fine and dandy, things won't get changed and we won't go left, we'll always go right. So we need that left. I need that feedback. So again, Nancy, thank you for tuning in and joining me for Teatime and sitting and having that moment with you, and I'm sure we will connect in this month again with the launch of Sacred Hearts Rising before the last of the series. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm really excited about the transformation that you and Daphne will be bringing to the table and all the incredible stuff that you will be doing. So keep us posted, Nancy, with what you do. And I will do updates on you, on your Teatime, and any information, anything that you're doing. Share those books with me so I can get the links out of the other books that you're in as well. So we can get some of those out as well. Because I was unaware about the other books that you were in. So let's get those out as well. So send me those links and I will get that into the description and get that as well. I will see everyone on March 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember that time changes does happen this Sunday. So watch the time zone. It will be 7 p.m. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing a local service that is being launched in Cornwall. and it's for mental health and addiction services. And they've reached out to me to see if they could be on Teatime. So I'm really excited to be supporting one of the local services in Cornwall here. So they will be joining me at 7 p.m. March 14th, and I will have the chair, the vice chair, and the treasurer that will be joining me for that Teatime. So, and they are called AMHRS, and they are helping addiction of mental health recovery service in Cornwall. So I want everyone to check that Teatime out and check out Nancy. You know, if you need some healing, you need some straight talk, real talk, this girl gives it to you. She does not sugarcoat it. She is the
I'll
real
call you
deal.
sunshine. I'll always call you sunshine. I'll
Well,
sandwich.
sunshine's a good thing, right? So,
I'll usually tell you something really sweet before I'm like,
yeah, you gotta take that little sunshine away, you know. So, but again, thank you, Nancy, for joining me for Teatime, and thank you to all the viewers and listeners out there. We are streaming to multiple locations, so we do have comments that come in later. If there's any questions, please leave them in the comment boxes in all of the different locations, and I will get them to Nancy. And once again, thank you for tuning in to Teatime and making a difference with one cup of tea at a time. And I will see you March 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a new Teatime to make a difference one cup of tea at a time.